I knew she was trouble the second she hopped my fence like some middle-aged spider woman with a clipboard. The HOA president, Beverly Langston, had picked the worst yard in the neighborhood to trespass into mine. And she did it thinking she'd finally found another easy target like the last few homeowners she bullied out of this place. What she didn't realize was that my 4 problem dogs weren't just pets. They were former and active duty K-9 officers. And I wasn't some passive homeowner. I was a trainer. And she'd just triggered the kind of response she didn't even know existed outside of military ops. Let me back up a sec. I'd only been in Rose Hill Bluffs a few months. Quiet suburb just outside of Denver. Strict HOA expensive real estate. The kind of place where people care more about hedge height than who lives next door. I moved in after a promotion to senior K-9 trainer at the county sheriff's department. The backyard was massive, perfect for training drills, which was exactly the point. But there was more to it than that. A buddy of mine, Marcus, who now works federal, had steered me toward the neighborhood. Just live normal, he said, but keep your eyes open. I figured it was about crime patterns or something, but turns out the crime was already inside the gates. Beverly introduced herself the day I moved in, clipboard pearls and a $1,000 hairdo. She handed me a rule book thicker than a phone directory and hit me with that icy HOA smile. We expect all homeowners to maintain the standards here, she said, eyeing my dogs like they were stray wolves. Now, I've dealt with control freaks before, but this woman took it to a level I hadn't seen since boot camp. Within the first week, she started walking past my house every morning, scribbling in her little notepad. No hello, no smile, just surveillance. Then came the violations. Noise complaints, even though my dogs are trained to stay quiet. Pet odor fines, even though I clean daily with professional grade gear. She even claimed my fenced-in dogs were unsecured because they could theoretically leap the fence. That's when I knew this wasn't about dogs. It was about getting rid of me. I might have let it go if it was just petty fines. But then I met Dave. Lives 2 doors down, retired engineer. Quiet guy, sharp eyes. He knocked one afternoon and said, "You're not the first. She did this to 3 families before you." Then he showed me folders. Yes, actual folders full of surveillance photos, timelines, financial records. Turns out Beverly had a scheme. She'd harass people until they cracked. Buy their houses below market value, flip them, and walk away with profit. She even donated to the HOA fund herself, just to gain leverage over the board. That's when I stopped playing defense. We set up our own surveillance. Dave had cameras, mics, the whole setup, and sure enough, we caught her trespassing. With binoculars, with a tape measure, with a badge she made herself on a laminator. But the real moment came one Monday morning. I pretended to leave for work, parked around the block, watched from Dave's house as she climbed over my fence, fully geared up for her inspection. What she didn't expect was what came next. Scout was first to notice. A soft woof. Then Ranger moved into position. Tank, my intimidation specialist, sat statue still by the gate. And Daisy posted up on the deck like a lookout. No barking, no aggression, just formation. When she realized she was boxed in, her hand shook as she called 911, muttering something about being held hostage by attack dogs. What came next? Comical. Detective Maya Sloan arrived. We'd worked together on K-9 cases before. She walked in, took one look, and said, "Ma'am, if these were attack dogs, you wouldn't be standing upright right now." I had each of them run simple commands: sit, shake, speak. And Maya just smirked. Beverly was humiliated. But somehow I knew this wasn't over. And it wasn't. 3 days later, I get a call from Internal Affairs. Someone filed anonymous complaints about me. Claimed my dogs were dangerous, that I was threatening the HOA president, that I was unfit for service. I was suspended. No pay. No badge. Then, Animal Control showed up with a seizure order for my dogs. That nearly broke me. I remember sitting on my back porch that night. Tank beside me, watching the others patrol the yard like nothing had changed. I whispered, "Maybe we just move. Start over." Tank let out this low, disappointed whine like, "Really, boss?" That's it. That's when I snapped out of it. I called Marcus. Turns out my buddy had been more involved than I thought. Marcus was FBI. He admitted they'd placed me in that neighborhood to quietly observe Beverly because she was suspected of running a multi-state real estate fraud ring. Now they needed to escalate. He asked if I was in. I said, "Let's end it." We staged an illegal construction setup in my yard. Fake permit cement mixer. Everything. Dave rigged the cameras and the FBI prepped the perimeter. Beverly couldn't resist. She showed up with her camera, her clipboard, and that dumb fake badge. She climbed the fence, walked into the yard, and began her inspection. My dogs surrounded her again, but this time it was federal. Agents stormed the property. She didn't even get a chance to lie. They had everything: bank records, audio recordings, even her voice on 911 admitting she'd trespassed. Marcus laid it all out. Fraud, conspiracy, harassment. And when she saw me walk out from the house, calm and collected, she screamed, "This is entrapment." I looked her dead in the eye and said, this is justice. In the weeks that followed, the FBI took down her whole network. Councilmen, realtors, even her personal PI, all arrested. I was reinstated. Promoted, offered a federal consultant role. Turns out training dogs to contain chaos, useful skill. That weekend, Dave hosted a barbecue in my yard, music playing, kids laughing, burgers grilling. Beverly would have hated every second of it. Mr. Henderson, one of her first victims, showed up to say thank you. Told me, "You didn't just fight for yourself. You fought for all of us." And yeah, I did. So let me ask you something. If someone like Beverly tried to run you out of your own home with fines and fake rules, what would you do? Would you fight back? Or walk away? Drop a comment below. Tell me where you stand when it comes to justice, community, and people like Beverly, who think power makes them untouchable. I'll be down there reading every word.